Hello, Radiant Leo, the living fire of the zodiac. Welcome to Eternal Mindfulness, and let me ask you something bold. What if a beautiful blessing is already on its way to you? And all you have to do is open your heart to receive it? That's not just poetic language. That's a message. A cosmic one. One that didn't randomly land in your feed today. You're here for a reason. And this message, this moment, isn't a coincidence. It's synchronicity. You see, Leo, this is not just another horoscope reading. This is a sacred reminder from the gods. You've done the hard work. You've fought quiet battles with no audience. You've carried weight you never spoke of, smiled when your heart was heavy, and stood tall even when your crown felt like it was slipping. And now, divine timing is about to catch up with you. Today's reading is about a beautiful gift, a divine offering. One that's approaching fast. It's wrapped in unexpected joy, overflowing abundance, and a fresh new chapter that will finally make sense of the one you're closing. But here's the truth, you don't manifest that kind of breakthrough by chasing it. You receive it by becoming aligned with it. And that's why you're here. To remember that your worth was never in question. That your light doesn't need permission to shine. That your name is already written in the stars. And what's meant for you, Leo, is unstoppable. In the teachings of the Buddha, it is said that blessings do not appear because we beg for them. They arrive when we are ready to recognize them. And you, Leo, are ready. You've done more than enough. You've already sown the seeds. Now it's time to harvest what's been growing beneath the surface all along. But before we dive into what's coming for you, allow me to take a moment to say this from the heart. Thank you for being here. For liking, commenting, subscribing, and becoming a sacred part of the Eternal Mindfulness family. Your presence, your support, your energy, it's what powers this space. You are the reason we continue to share these soul-level messages, week after week. And trust me, Leo, this message today is one you'll want to stay for until the very end. What the gods are revealing is nothing short of magnificent. So let me ask you, what energy brought you here today? Was it a whisper from your intuition? A sign you've been waiting for? Whatever it was, honor it. Because this connection is real. Drop an angel number below in the comments, whichever one is vibrating in your soul right now, to affirm that you're ready to receive what's already on its way. Now take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into your destiny together. You've come so far without realizing how much you've already shifted. And now, as we move deeper into this reading, you're being shown something you might have missed in the chaos, the grace hidden in the hardship. When the Ten of Wands appears, it's not just a symbol of burden or exhaustion. It's the final stretch of a long, heavy journey. It's the moment right before release. The weight didn't break you, it sculpted you. What you carried wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And that changes everything. For so long, you held up the walls so everything around you wouldn't fall apart. You bore more than your share, not just tasks, but emotions, expectations, unspoken hopes. Maybe there were moments you wanted to scream, but instead you stayed quiet. Maybe you kept showing up for others while secretly wondering who would show up for you. But this card, this phase, tells us that the chapter of silent endurance is closing. something is lifting. And in that lifting, something golden is being revealed. When we see the wheel of fortune and death in connection with this, we know this is no ordinary moment. We're looking at the alchemy of life, the turning of what was once heavy into something luminous. The wheel says your season is changing. The death card confirms, you're not who you were when you started this. And what a quiet miracle that is. Without fanfare, without anyone seeing it, you've ended a karmic loop. The lesson has been lived through fully. The wheel has turned, and now your direction is shifting, too. What does that mean in practical terms? It means what once drained you is losing its grip. It means you no longer have to hustle for what your spirit has already earned. The pain you endured didn't just disappear, it transformed you. And what you gain now isn't compensation, it's evolution. When we talk about receiving blessings, this is how they arrive, not as some random windfall, but as the natural result of your inner work, your patience, your quiet resilience. There is a teaching that suggests when we stop resisting the weight of our experiences, we begin to move with them instead of against them. And in doing so, suffering dissolves. The lesson isn't in the pain itself, but in how we hold it, how we breathe through it, how we choose not to turn bitter when things get hard. You've done that, Leo. Whether you were aware of it or not, you've done the kind of inner work most people try to bypass. And because of that, something sacred is opening. The numbers 10 and 13 appear not as signs of ending, but of wholeness and renewal. 10 is the completion of a cycle, the exhale after a long inhale. 13, often misunderstood, is not unlucky. It is the number of rebirth, of truth emerging from what once seemed like loss. These numbers are speaking to you now, whispering through your intuition, you've crossed the threshold. Now, rise. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it, not a finish line, but a field. Golden, abundant, open. This is where you are now. The wind brushing your face is not asking you to run anymore. It's simply calling you home. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to fix what has already fallen away. All you need to do is stand still, feel the light again, and remember who you've become. Because the old story is complete. The soil you walked on in pain is now fertile with possibility. And Leo, this moment, this quiet, golden shift, is yours. And now, Leo, as we move forward, the journey begins to feel lighter, not because everything outside has changed, but because something within you has. That's the quiet power of resilience. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets or bright lights. It arrives like a slow, steady breath that clears the fog. You're beginning to realize that what used to weigh you down no longer holds the same power. That's not because the burden disappeared, but because you've grown stronger than it. This is the subtle shift that happens when awareness replaces resistance, when you start seeing your experiences not as things to run from, but as chapters that shaped you. There's a gentle kind of wisdom and understanding that we don't always need to fix what hurts. Sometimes, we just need to observe it with kindness, to give it space to soften on its own. In that space, clarity arises. The same way the sky reappears when the storm passes, not because the sky went anywhere, but because you waded through the weather. That's where you are now. The clouds have begun to part. And what's becoming visible is not just a new horizon, but a deeper version of yourself. The cards from earlier, especially the Knight of Cups and Ace of Swords, speak to this moment of inner clarity. There may be an emotional offering, a conversation, or even an opportunity that seems small at first but opens a door to profound understanding. This isn't about someone rescuing you. It's about you being open enough to receive what nurtures you. In one school of thought, they teach that when the heart is free of attachment to outcome, it naturally moves toward harmony. That's why even small acts of grace, someone listening, a message that feels like it found you, can feel like breakthroughs. You're not chasing love or validation anymore. You're becoming aligned with it, from the inside out. This is also a time when your voice matters. Not just the words you speak, but the truth you embody. The moment you stop editing yourself to be more acceptable, the world around you shifts to meet you where you truly are. And Leo, your voice is powerful not because it's loud, but because it carries intention. It carries healing. When you speak from that place of inner knowing, even if your voice shakes, you change the energy of the space around you. There's nothing performative about that. It's real. It's honest. And it's needed now more than ever. One of the most misunderstood aspects of growth is the idea that it must always look like forward motion. But sometimes, the most important progress is internal, a choice to stay instead of escape, to feel instead of numb, to respond with calm instead of react with fear. That stillness, that conscious pause, is not weakness. It's mastery. And from that quiet place, everything becomes possible. Even if life doesn't look different on the outside just yet, something foundational is reordering itself. It's like the roots beneath the soil growing stronger before the blossom ever appears. So if you're wondering what you should do next, maybe the answer is simpler than expected. Maybe this isn't a time to force movement, but to allow integration. To notice what's shifting within you, what no longer resonates, and what quietly wants to be chosen instead. The universe doesn't always give clear signs with flashing arrows. Sometimes, it whispers through your own calm presence, you're on the right path. Keep going. So keep going, Leo. But do it gently. With presence. With truth. And above all, with compassion for who you were, who you are, and who you're still becoming. What you've been through emotionally hasn't been easy. And yet, what rises now from the cracks in your heart is not brokenness, it's space. Space to receive. Space to feel something new. When the Knight of Cups appears alongside the Ace of Swords and the Three of Swords, we're not just looking at a story of heartbreak, we're witnessing the exact moment where pain begins to give way to truth. Not the kind of truth that comes from explanation or analysis, but the kind that settles quietly in the heart and says, even this was part of your becoming. Emotional pain has a way of hardening us when left unacknowledged. But you haven't closed off, you've stayed soft where it counted. And that softness, Leo, is your strength. Maybe you've been holding on to a version of love that never fully saw you. Maybe there was an expectation, of a person, a dream, a future, that slipped through your fingers when you weren't ready to let go. The mind wanted closure. The heart just wanted peace. And somewhere in between, you forgot that you could still open. The Knight of Cups brings with him not just emotion, but motion. Something is moving toward you, gently, but with purpose. A conversation, an apology, or an unexpected connection. It may not look dramatic or obvious, but it holds the power to shift something deep within. The Ace of Swords reinforces this. There's clarity coming. Something is being cut free, a weight you've carried in silence, possibly even one you stopped noticing because it's been with you so long. This clarity is not cold or clinical. It is compassionate. It clears the fog, not with violence, but like morning light dissolving mist. The truth is, healing rarely comes in grand gestures. It comes in the subtle choice to allow yourself to feel without judgment. To sit with your discomfort without needing to escape it. And in those moments of stillness, a deeper awareness blooms, that you are not your wounds. You are the one who survived them. In the teachings of the awakened mind, they say the heart is not something to be protected from pain, but a vessel through which all things pass, joy, sorrow, gain, loss, and only by remaining open does it fulfill its true function. To resist pain is to prolong it. To feel it fully, without adding story or blame, is to set it free. Leo, you were never meant to carry heartbreak as identity. You were meant to alchemize it into insight, into love that doesn't beg to be returned, but radiates simply because it exists. There is someone, or something, on its way to remind you of this. It might be a new relationship, yes, but it could just as easily be a reconnection to yourself. That inner voice that you silenced when things got too loud. The dream you tucked away when the world told you to be realistic. The part of you that still believes in softness, in romance, in possibility. Now is a powerful moment to return to that part of you. Not with urgency, but with reverence. A 5-minute pause each day, visualizing your heart wrapped in soft pink light, isn't just a practice in law of attraction, it's a declaration: I am worthy of safe love. I am worthy of truth that heals. I am ready. Because you are. And what's coming isn't to replace what was lost, it's to honor what you learned in the letting go. So allow the invitation. Let the message, the person, or the moment arrive without needing it to look a certain way. Let it be what it is, a gentle mirror showing you that even after all you've been through, your heart still knows how to open. After everything you've weathered, emotionally, mentally, even physically, it's only natural to feel hesitant when blessings start to approach. When things begin to move quickly after a long period of stagnation, we sometimes wonder if it's real, or if we'll be able to hold on to it. But the appearance of the Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Eight of Wands together offers a clear message. Not only is abundance coming your way, but it's arriving faster than expected, and it's arriving because you are finally ready to receive it. This combination doesn't point to random luck. It speaks to alignment, of preparation meeting opportunity, of the energy you've invested starting to yield tangible results. The Ace of Pentacles is the seed of new financial potential. It can come in the form of a job offer, a raise, a business collaboration, or even a surprising gift from someone who's been silently observing your journey and waiting for the right moment to give back. The Six of Pentacles, often misunderstood as a charity card, actually teaches balance, receiving without shame, giving without ego. It's a reminder that what flows in your life flows best when circulation is present, when you allow wealth, time, and energy to both enter and exit with purpose. Then comes the Eight of Wands, swift momentum. Things are accelerating now, and you might feel like they're happening all at once. Don't panic. Don't pull back. This is simply life responding to the energetic upgrades you've already made internally. In moments like this, where things seem to manifest overnight, it's easy to forget that the soil has been fertilized for months, maybe years. The flower doesn't bloom because it rushed. It blooms because the roots were deep enough to support it. Financially, this is an ideal time to act from awareness rather than impulse. A simple structure, 50% for what sustains you, 30% for what inspires you, and 20% for what secures your future, can create stability without killing your sense of joy. Think of money not just as currency, but as energy, a reflection of how clearly you are aligned with your own worth. When you honor it, it begins to honor you back. On a physical level, prosperity is best received when the body is able to hold that energy. That means nurturing your health, not just because it's the right thing to do, but because it grounds you in the present moment. Increasing greens in your meals, sticking to a more consistent sleep routine, these aren't chores, they're signals to your nervous system that you are safe to expand. Because growth requires safety. And when your body feels safe, your mind begins to open. Your decisions sharpen. You stop second-guessing the good things that are flowing in. Color, too, holds vibrational influence. Bold gold enhances confidence and radiance. Earthy orange tones support grounded creativity. Soft olive greens foster calm expansion. When you surround yourself with these hues, whether in clothing, environment, or visualization, you begin to attune your frequency to one of abundance without chaos. None of this is about chasing wealth. It's about becoming the kind of vessel that can hold it with grace. The teachings say, when the cup is full, it naturally overflows. You don't need to force or rush what's already making its way toward you. You simply need to remain steady, open, and grateful. Because when the momentum builds, the best thing you can do is breathe, take care of your foundation, and let the energy carry you forward, not out of desperation, but from a quiet, powerful sense of readiness. And Leo, you are more than ready now. There are moments in life that feel deceptively quiet, like nothing is moving, and yet beneath the stillness, something profound is shifting. This is one of those moments, Leo. The appearance of the Two of Wands, the Hermit, and the Moon doesn't just suggest a choice, it signals a turning point. A crossroads not marked by obvious signs, but by a subtle invitation from within. This is the kind of decision that might seem small at first glance. A conversation you almost skip. A trip you hesitate to take. A project idea that keeps nudging you, even when no one else sees its potential. But behind that simplicity lies a portal, one that can redirect the entire course of your path. The Two of Wands speaks to vision. Not just where you are, but where you could be. You may find yourself weighing possibilities. Should you stay with what's familiar, or venture into the unknown? The external world will offer plenty of opinions, but the wisdom of the Hermit reminds you that the only compass that truly matters is the one glowing quietly inside. This card calls you inward, not to retreat, but to recalibrate. To ask yourself not, what do they want from me, but, what makes me come alive? Too often, we wait for clarity to arrive fully formed, with no ambiguity. But the Moon card gently reminds us that clarity doesn't always precede the decision, it often follows it. Just as the Moon lights only part of the path, your next step might feel uncertain. That's okay. What matters most is that you trust the signal rising in your gut. That quiet internal pulse that may not make logical sense, but feels undeniably alive. It's the same inner voice that has guided countless sages, artists, and truth seekers across time, not through loud declarations, but through subtle resonance. There's a teaching that says when the heart is fully listened to, it reveals the answer not in words, but in warmth. So pause here and ask yourself, not from fear but from sincerity, what stirs my heart, even if no one understands it yet? If you sit with that question gently, without forcing the answer, it will rise. The more you tune out the noise of comparison, expectation, and urgency, the more that inner truth will speak. Not as pressure, but as peace. And this is the beautiful paradox. When we stop grasping for certainty, we often discover the clearest insights. Life rarely gives us guarantees. But what it does give, if we're present enough to notice, is a constant stream of gentle direction. A feeling. A hunch. A door that opens with ease. When you follow that thread with intention, not recklessness, the road begins to appear. Step by step. Choice by choice. Your future is not something you chase. It's something you allow. You don't need external light to find your way, Leo, because you are the light. You are the sun in your own sky. The moment you remember that is the moment you stop seeking permission to change. And maybe this next chapter doesn't begin with a grand gesture. Maybe it begins with a whisper you finally decide to trust. So take a breath. Reconnect to what is quiet but real inside you. You are standing at a sacred turning point, not because someone said so, but because your soul recognizes it. Trust the signal, even if it's soft. The most extraordinary transformations often begin with a single, ordinary yes. Leo, if you've made it here to the final moments of this message, it's not by accident. It means your heart has been listening, perhaps quietly, perhaps cautiously, but listening nonetheless. And now, it's your turn to decide what you want to do with what you've heard. You see, transformation doesn't always come in sudden lightning bolts. Sometimes, it arrives like a soft breeze asking you, are you ready to stop resisting and start receiving? You don't have to shout to be seen. You don't have to prove yourself to be worthy. Your light is not a performance, it's a presence. And the moment you allow that presence to simply be, without needing validation, is the moment your reality begins to shift. Leo, the universe is not asking you to fight anymore. It's inviting you to allow. To receive what's already yours. To open to the path that was never closed, just waiting for you to trust it. So let me ask you, what are you willing to open to now? What truth, what desire, what version of yourself have you been keeping behind the curtain, waiting for the right time or perfect sign? Could this be it? Could today be the day you stop hiding from your brilliance? There's a quiet kind of courage in choosing softness over struggle. In choosing to trust the next step, even if you can't see the whole road. And that's what this message has always been about, not predicting your future, but reminding you of your power to shape it. Through action. Through awareness. Through choosing alignment over fear. Take a moment. Breathe in deeply. What part of your life is already beginning to shift, just because you dared to see it differently? What one thing can you do, today, that would honor the person you are becoming? And if this message resonated with you, I invite you to reflect on this not just as content you watched, but as guidance you felt. Let it move through you. Let it inspire real change. Comment below with the angel number you feel most drawn to right now, your sacred sign of readiness, your energetic signature in this moment of transformation. Let the world know, you are not waiting anymore. You are stepping forward. And if this message found you at just the right time, let it ripple outward. Like this video. Subscribe if you feel called. Share it with someone else who may need the light right now. Because when we pass along energy with intention, we multiply it, not just for others, but within ourselves. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Your presence, your willingness to go deep, to feel, to awaken, that is the real miracle. And please, remember this, you were never meant to run or shrink. You were born to shine. Not louder. Just truer. Now go, carry this light into the rest of your day. Not as a performance, but as your essence. You don't need permission. You already have the power.